Hi, everybody. Welcome to the DRF Race of the Day. I'm Dan Illman along with Mike Beer. Our race of the day for Friday, September the 30th. Nice state-bred stakes action at Belmont at the Big A. Race number 7 is the John Hettinger Stakes, $125,000. Fillies and mares going a mile and an eighth on the turf. We'll be back with the full preview after this brief message.
Want to view free Formulator past performances for this race? Head to the Race of the Day page at DRF.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel and bet this card with DRF Bets.
Here's the field for the John Hettinger Stakes. The two make Mischief, Mike's really intriguing in here because she's going to be trying turf for the first time, and I guess her pedigree is acceptable for it, but one of her great assets, I think, is her positional speed, and other than the 8 Pure Bodie, there's not a ton of gas in here. She might work out the right trip under Dylan Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they just have to go with her here, Dan. Drawn, towards the inside with speed. Plenty of questions surrounding her for sure as they make the surface switch. I also feel like it's a question about, how far she really wants to go, Dan. And it just kind of feels like she's going to get bet for the wrong reasons in here, but she's certainly a talented horse.
And she does have that tactical speed, as Timeform US indicates with its Timeform US pace projector. Pure Bodie's quick. Pure Bodie was on the lead last time out in a gate-to-wire gambit at Saratoga. Make Mischief will be close. I think this pace should be pretty fair.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be walking. I doubt they'll be flying early. It seems like they never fly in these turf races, but it doesn't feel like the closers necessarily have to be compromised in this race.
As you see on the pace projector, the number 1 Classic Lady has the positional speed to work out a good trip in behind the lead, and she is usually there or thereabouts in races restricted to New York breds. I don't believe she's ever been off the board on turf against fellow state breds. She's only raced twice this year, just missed by a nose in the Mount Vernon in her seasonal debut off a 5+ month layoff, and then caught tougher competition last time out in the Grade 3 Penny at Parks. She gets the class relief she needs.
Yeah, she does. She's a nice fit in here with her very best race. Dan, I thought that she ran pretty well in the Mount Vernon off that layoff 2 starts back. I get that, the Penny last time at Parks was a tougher race. She was also pretty bad in there. I mean, she got a pretty good trip in that race and just never really found anything through the stretch. I thought, even though I didn't, necessarily expect her to win that race, I thought that was a pretty disappointing performance.
The 2 in here is Make Mischief. We talked about her in the Open. She'll be trying turf for the first time. She's by multiple champion stallion into Mischief. There's a little bit of turf on the pedigree. A mile and an eighth is a fair question, and Mike brought it up. She did try the Fleet Indian on dirt last summer in 2021, and she just missed as the favorite. I've always thought of her more as sort of a 7 furlong to a mile and a 16th type.
Yeah, I'm worried about the distance with her in this race. The Fleet Indian that you're referencing there, Dan, she did run pretty well in that race. I mean, it almost felt like she beat the gate in that race from the outside post. But man, she still blew a clear stretch lead in there. It makes me wonder how far she wants to go. You mentioned the pedigree. I think all 4 of the prior foals from this dam have won on the grass. One of those, Jody Song, who was a really good turf horse, only got to run twice, but it looked like she was going to turn out to be pretty good before injuries took her down. I don't know. I guess she's bred to handle it. Again, I feel like she's going to get bet for all the wrong reasons in here. And I don't want a short price on this horse.
If she can transfer her dirt form to turf, she'll be dangerous, obviously. She's earned almost $750,000, Grade 1 placed on the main track. Classic Colors is the number 3. Classic Colors raced at Saratoga against Open Company, a first-level allowance race. She got the pace she needed from the back of the pack. She ran on in the end to finish 4th. It was a solid enough group. The runner-up came back to win with an 85 buyer. This distance is very good for her.
Yeah, I like her getting to go a little shorter here. I mean, the race 2 starts back, I feel like that mile and 3 race, I think, was just too far for her. She didn't really fire a good one there. Last time, I don't know if you agree with this or not, Dan, but and you're right, the pace was there for her, but she got herself sort of in and among horses around that final turn while the winner, Hale 2, was out in the clear, sweeping around horses and got first run on Classic Colors. I actually feel like she ran pretty well last time. And prior to that, I just thought her win off the layoff was excellent back at Belmont in May. A very slow pace in front of her. She came hard through the stretch to win that race. I like this horse. I think there's a chance that she, I know she's very lightly raced, but I think there's a chance that she could easily turn out to be a New York bred stakes horse as time goes on. I think she's a nice fit in here at 10-1.
Certainly the right price at 10-1, especially for these connections. Jose Ortiz, Christophe Clement. I agree with your take on the last race. She just was sort of in and among horses all the way around the track after getting bounced around at the start and then had to make a run into it late. Marvelous Maud is the number 4. Talk about class relief. She was in the Grade 2 Flower Bowl last time out in against the runner-up Warlike Goddess, who's one of the top 3 older filly and mare turf horses in the entire country. There wasn't a ton of pace in that race. That hurt Warlike Goddess. Virginia Joy went gate to wire. I don't really think that was the excuse for Marvelous Maud. Marvelous Maud was just overmatched.
Yeah, that was just too tough a race for her, and it's not the race that Chad wanted to run her in. And most of these horses were entered in that Yaddo towards the end of the Saratoga meet that Make Mischief wound up winning. That race came off the turf, and so everybody sort of had to go looking for other races. Marvelous Maud wound up in the Flower Bowl, which she just could not win. Prior to that, her form was really trending the right way, and she's another horse that it feels like the 1 1/8 is a perfect distance for her.
She was a very likable winner. 2 starts back at Saratoga against open first level allowance runners. It was a good inside out trip, but she had to overcome a moderate pace. Vienna Code is up next, and Vienna Code's best races have come on dirt. She's only raced 3 times previously on the turf. You have to go all the way back to May of 2021 in a first level New York bred allowance. She was 90-1 that day. She didn't run like a 90-1 shot, but she'll have to do a lot better against these horses on the grass.
Yeah, there's just a lot working against her. She's going to be a huge price in here. Part of me feels like that they're entered here just in case this race comes off the turf. If she does wind up racing on the grass, I thought she was pretty hard to make a case for.
Ice Princess was second in this race last year, utilizing the dirt to turf move for Danny Gargan, the same move he'll be utilizing here. Let's go back to her most recent turf start, 2 starts back. This is going 1 3/8 at Saratoga. The pace wasn't very fast in this race, 52-4, 19-2, but she gets run down by a nice horse. That capital structure came from last, and Ice Princess was game to hold second.
Yeah, run down by a really impressive winner here. This to me, I know that maybe it was against better horses, Dad, but to me that was a perfect situation for Ice Princess. Going longer, which it feels like she wants to do, and getting to the front where she can just sort of get into that stride, because she is one of those horses, at least in my opinion. She has 1 gear around the racetrack. There's no acceleration from her. You just got to let her find her stride and then just hope that she can stay on to the end, which she usually does. I personally don't like her that much as a turf horse, even though all 3 of her turf starts are pretty good performances.
She does have tactical speed. I can see her sitting on the outside in the second flight, maybe along with the horse down towards the inside, Classic Lady, horses that can track the early pace. Runaway Rumor is the number 7. I can understand anybody that's getting a little bit tired of Runaway Rumor's act. She won her first 3 starts. She hasn't won since. She had a big look at the Violet last time out at Monmouth. We're going to take a look at this race. She swings into the stretch on the outside. She has dead aim. She's going to fall short to Vigilante's Way, a mare that loves Monmouth.
Yeah, that's true. And Vigilante's Way does get through on the inside. Man, she's got dead aim on this race, though. I suppose you could just say it was another step in the right direction for her. It feels like it's taken her forever to re-find her good form. And I guess you could argue that maybe she's doing that now. And I know that was an open stakes race we just looked at there. Still thought that if she was good enough, she should have won that race.
Pure Bodie could be the controlling speed. It'll depend on the tactics of the number 2 in here, but Pure Bodie went right to the front in this race at Saratoga early in the meet and was able to control the fractions. And I liked how Jose Lezcano slowed it down the first quarter, then gradually picked up the pace, and Pure Bodie was just too good for this field. This is a pretty steep step up in class off the second level New York bred condition, but her speed plays well, and she seems to be in career form.
Right. And she'll be a price if you like her, too. I think all those things are positives. To me, it's going to take another perfect trip for her to get it done here. And even with one of those, I'm not sure she can do it, Dan. Going back to that May 22nd race, she basically got loose with nobody else going on a really slow pace, and Classic Colors and Marvelous Maud both ran by her through the stretch. I know she was off the layoff there, but so was Classic Colors.
She's also never been this far as well. She's going to have to stretch that speed 1 1/8. Finest Work has never been off the board from 7 starts on the turf. She got the job done last time out. She has won 3 of her last 4, all of those races since being transferred to the George Weaver barn. This is a first level allowance race at Monmouth, and she sat off a pretty moderate pace and is just too good for these as the 6-5 favorite.
I like this performance. This filly's pretty good. I think she has a real chance in this race, Dan. I'm Mildly concerned that the mile and an eighth isn't going to work to her advantage. Although I'm starting to feel, again, I've never thought that more distance was going to help her, but I'm starting to think maybe I've been wrong about that. The race 2 starts back against Marvelous Maud. I still think Marvelous Maud might have run the better race, but this horse got down inside and got into a little bit of traffic there. That was a pretty underrated performance.
Before we get to our top picks, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRFTV video franchises. We'll take a peek at our top picks for the Hettinger. It's our Friday race of the day at Belmont at the Big A. Classic colors, the right price, Mike, and you can argue her form is dirtied up, whether it's by wrong trip or wrong distance. Her race 3 back was very, very good.
Yeah, I would make that argument that maybe she's a little dirtied up. I like this horse, Dan. If she's anywhere near the 10-1, I'm betting her.
Marvelous Maud, your second pick's going to be a much shorter price. I think she is the horse to beat. I don't think you're supposed to really falter for her last race. She was simply in too tough. Her race before that was good against first-level open competition. She seems well spotted against this New York bred stakes group. Mike's going 3-4-2-9. We'll see if Chad Brown has another winner of the Hettinger. He's won this several times in the past. He's got Marvelous Maud. Best of luck.